Gratomic, a very promising junior vein graphite producer. For anyone following this company closely, the last couple of months have been very exciting. So much of the story has changed, but was all this change for the better? The stock price certainly hasn't gone up as much as we would have liked. So is Gratomic still an interesting graphite investment? Let's find out together. Today we are taking a bird's eye view of Gratomic, and I'll tell you everything you need to know about Gratomic in this video. Hey fellow investors, how are you doing? My name is Stijn and welcome to my YouTube channel. Now let's get into it. Gratomic is a company that revolves all around graphite. Graphite as in a material used in almost all batteries. Graphite, the material for which demand is expected to increase upwards of 300% during the upcoming decade. And the best part for us, graphite supply simply cannot keep up. There simply aren't enough graphite producers around the globe. And don't you worry, I'm already working on a video where I explain to you guys why I believe graphite is by far the best way to profit from the EV revolution. So do make sure you subscribe to this YouTube channel so you don't miss that video. Anyways, besides Gratomic being at the right place and the right time graphite wise, they are actually forming a really solid business. I think it's best if we see Gratomic as a two-piece puzzle for now. And the two puzzle pieces are Alchem, the vein graphite mine located in Namibia on the continent of Africa. Second, Luderidge Bay, which is also located in Namibia. This is the place where Gratomic is constructing their anode material facility. So Luderidge Bay is where the raw material straight out of Alchem is turned into battery ready material. As in the material used in the anode part of a lithium-ion battery. Anyways, these two pieces are both very important. Alchem is where the raw material will be produced. And the raw material is then fed into Luderidge Bay, where it will be turned into full-fledged anode material. So now we have the bird's eye view of Gratomic. And there is actually a potential third piece to the puzzle, but more on that later. Let's dive a bit deeper into the first two puzzle pieces. Piece 1, Alchem. Gratomic currently plans to produce 20,000 tons of vein graphite to start out with, and afterwards the sky is the limit. Test results thus far have shown us that graphite can be taken up to 99.38% purity without any chemical or heat treatment. That is extremely impressive. Other flake graphite producers have to use a lot of chemicals and a lot of heat to purify their graphite, which makes the refining process way more expensive and less environmentally friendly. But Gratomic doesn't need those chemicals or heat since their vein graphite is extremely pure to start out with. We also know that Gratomic plans for Alchem to be fully solar powered, meaning cheap and green energy sources for Alchem, and they should really help with keeping the cost low while keeping the ESG standards high. Like I stated earlier, the current plan is to turn Alchem into a 20,000 ton per year graphite producing machine. And it seems as if the company will be able to get this number way up in the future. 100,000 tons a year certainly seems possible, but this is just speculation from my end. Keep in mind, we haven't seen a public resource estimation for Alchem just yet. Now it's time to talk about piece 2, Luderidge Bay. This puzzle piece is extremely important, so pay close attention. Luderidge Bay instantly makes Gratomic 5 times more valuable, just like that. Seriously, remember Alchem produces the raw vein graphite, while Luderidge Bay turns it into anode material. Well, currently the raw graphite goes for about $2,000 per ton, so Gratomic would be able to get $2,000 per ton by selling the Alchem vein graphite directly. That is, while the fully processed anode material goes for about $10,000 per ton. So if Gratomic processes their graphite in Luderidge Bay, it instantly becomes 5 times more valuable at $10,000 per ton. Keep in mind, these prices are just ballpark figures. But the point is, Gratomic can increase their revenues by 5 times just by processing their graphite in Luderidge Bay. And that is why Luderidge Bay is an extremely important part of the puzzle. So according to this press release, Luderidge Bay will be turned into 2 separate facilities. You see, to go from the raw vein graphite to anode material, the material needs to go through 3 main steps. First, micronization. This step is to decrease the particle sizing. Second, spheronization. As far as I understand, this step is just to form the graphite in the correct shape. And third, the coating step. This is where very advanced technologies are used to tweak the most outer layer of graphite to the exact specification that's needed. So one facility will house step 1 and step 2, so micronization and spheronization, and the second facility will house the step 3 equipment, so the patented ALD atomic layer deposition equipment supplied by Forge Nano. Reasoning behind that is that not all graphite sold by Gratomic will need the ALD coating layer. As a quick sidestep, Forge Nano is one of Gratomic's main partners. Since March 2021, Forge Nano and Gratomic have been working together at the 20,000 ton Luttridge Bay facility. So Forge Nano is the company that provides the equipment for step 3, the ALD coating. Batteries with the Forge Nano ALD coating promise to have 20% higher energy density, faster charge times, and so many other benefits. And batteries made out of Vein Graphite have the potential to have significantly better performance compared to other graphite sources. Now imagine what happens if we combine the two properties. Super pure Vein Graphite coated with an ALD coating. This combination would have the potential to perform significantly better than all other lithium-ion batteries. We know that Gratomic is testing their graphite in coin cell batteries already, but we will have to wait and see just how much performance Gratomic will be able to squeeze out of lithium-ion batteries. And there is a potential third piece to the puzzle we haven't talked about thus far. Of course, I am talking about the newly acquired property in Capim Grosso, Brazil. This property has the potential to become Arkham 2.0, so another huge Vein Graphite producing property. I say that because the drilling results thus far are extremely promising. Total graphite content over 25% in some places is certainly nothing to sneeze at. But for now, Capim Grosso is still pretty uncertain. Gratomic will likely go through all the normal mining studies as explained in this video. Definitely check it out if you want to know what will happen on the Capim Grosso property for the following next years. Of course, link will be in the description. We haven't received any timelines regarding Capim Grosso, but I'm quite certain we have to wait for a couple more years before we can see it turn into an Arkham 2.0. If it ever happens at all, this is still quite risky. But I still think it's great to see Gratomic already looking ahead, thinking about the next step forward. So thus far we've only been talking about the future, but when will all these things actually happen? Now I'll try to provide you guys with a comprehensible timeline for Gratomic. We'll start at right now. Right now, Gratomic is in wet commissioning of Arkham. This basically means they are testing the equipment they've constructed thus far. They want to check if all their equipment works as intended before they start running large quantities of graphite through their system. The wet commissioning will probably take a couple of months still, but I would personally bet on Arkham becoming fully operational early next year. Next, before year's end, we are expecting the PFS. Again, I have already done a very in-depth explanation of mining studies, so I'll not go too deep into that subject in this video. But this study should tell us a lot about Arkham. We should learn the following: what the operational cost will be for running the plant, the total throughput, so just how much graphite Arkham will actually produce a year, and so much more information we'll learn about Arkham. And the company should still be on track to release the PFS in late 2021. I personally think this will be quite the catalyst. This will prove to the wide world that Gratomic knows what they're doing. This will de-risk Gratomic as an investment, and I think that de-risking will do great things for the share price. Third, we are of course awaiting a maiden NI 43-101 resource estimation in Q1 2022. This resource estimation will tell us all about the longevity of Arkham. As a value investor, we should be looking at Gratomic as a long-term investment. And this NI 43-101 resource report will confirm or deny whether Arkham will be able to churn out huge quantities of graphite for as long as we need it to. And there are a couple of things we are also awaiting which don't have a clearly defined timeline. For example, I'm personally awaiting plans for Arkham to expand in the future. I would love to know just how far the team will push Arkham. Will the property cap out at 50,000 tons a year? Are they already looking to expand to 100,000 tons a year, potentially 200,000 tons a year? Keep in mind these are all long-term plans. And we will probably not hear about these plans for a long while either. Also, we are awaiting the studies in the Capim Grosso property. Will Gratomic be able to construct a profitable mine there. And offtake agreements. As of right now, Gratomic already has 2 outstanding offtake agreements in place. However, I think we can expect a couple of interesting ones to pop up in the future too. Hopefully an offtake agreement with a large EV producer, that would be amazing. But for now we cannot know if, when and how these deals materialize. Now, I think the last thing we should talk about is the valuation. Everyone has different opinions, time frames and views. So it is logical, everyone's valuation of Gratomic should be different too. But I will be sharing my personal valuation of Gratomic right now. I think we can see Gratomic do $400 million in revenue in the year 2025. Why? Well, I personally predict Gratomic will do about 100,000 tons of Vein Graphite from Alchem in 2025. Out of those 100,000 tons, I think Gratomic can sell 80,000 tons directly for $2,500 per ton, and the other 20,000 tons will go to Luderidge Bay, which they can sell for a whopping $10,000 per ton. So these revenue streams combined results in $400 million in revenue in the year 2025. Keep in mind, this is just my estimation. Anyways, $400 million in revenue, I think we can easily see Gratomic trade at a price to sales ratio of 5, so that results in a market cap of $2 billion in the year 2025. Meaning, I foresee the entire company being worth $2 billion in 2025. Currently, Gratomic has 181 million shares outstanding, and I do not expect too much dilution heading into the future. However, they did acquire Capim Grosso with roughly 4 million shares. So just add 10 million shares to the current 181 million shares to be conservative. So in this valuation, I am calculating with 191 million shares outstanding in 2025. Anyways, $2 billion divided by 191 million shares results in a future share price of almost $11. Keep in mind, people, that's a 10x return compared to today's prices, which is just insane in 4 years. However, with an extremely conservative discount rate of 15%, that $10.50 would be worth $6 today. And now we apply a margin of safety. This is to ensure we get these insane returns with as little risk as possible. At the current share price, we're getting a margin of safety of roughly 80%. I normally aim for a margin of safety of 50%, so I'm quite happy with this margin of safety. However, that margin of safety of 50% is for stable, mature companies. And as Gratomic matures and de-risks itself over time, I would be willing to buy these shares at a lower margin of safety too, but never lower than 50%. As a reference, with the current stats, a 50% margin of safety puts them at $3 per share. Also keep in mind, with this valuation, we haven't even looked at Brazil. In 2025, Capim Grosso might just be operational already. And we also do not know if Gratomic has plans to expand Alchem and Luderidge Bay past the numbers I've shown you in this valuation. What I'm trying to say is, if we give the company even more time, we might see an exponentially higher valuation. But please keep in mind, Gratomic is still risky. The risk will only go down significantly when we see the PFS and the resource estimation for Alchem. But if the risk is gone, other investors would be willing to buy Gratomic at lower margin of safeties. And that could push the share price higher and higher, subsequently decreasing your potential returns. Investing is an act of balance, risk versus reward. You need to make this decision for yourself. How much are you willing to risk to get the exposure to this amazing growth story? And with that said, I really hope you guys enjoyed this video, and if you did, please give it a like and maybe even subscribe. Comment down below what you want me to talk about next, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.